Winds of change are blowing. The geopolitical order is realigning. Global alliances are recalibrating. Amidst the economic ambition and border fault lines lies the destiny of two ancient civilizations and the fate of nearly half of the world's population. The elephant and the dragon are once again headed for a historic handshake, as Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi will arrive in New Delhi for a two-day visit to hold the round of special representative talks on the India-China boundary question. As per the MEA, the Chinese diplomat will meet his counterpart NSA Ajit Doval as part of the special representative talks and is also expected to meet External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar.
I think the key talking points in the big picture are an overall, let's say, analysis overview of China-India relations overall. Though there are definitely standing matters on our boundary issue, and remember, this visit is for the special representatives talks, and these special representatives are nominated for the boundary issue, right? So, of course, the boundary issue. And then, of course, along with it, matters of trade, where we are seeing some non-tariff barriers by the Chinese with regards to imports or exports from India.
Despite the frayed ties along the border in recent years, most notably since the Galwan clash of 2020, India and China have made progress diplomatically.
We are both at a crucial phase in our respective modernization endeavors. It best serves the fundamental interests of our two countries and two peoples.
सीमा पर शांति और स्थिरता बनाए रखना हमारी प्राथमिकता रहनी चाहिए. म्यूचुअल ट्रस्ट, म्यूचुअल रिस्पेक्ट और म्यूचुअल सेंसिटिविटी हमारे संबंधों का आधार बने रहना चाहिए.
However, China has been dragging its feet on the boundary question, with no discernible progress made since the withdrawal announced last year. Trust issues continue to remain high despite diplomatic engagement. The big question that now emerges: are India and China headed towards normalization of ties?
Normalization of ties, as I was saying earlier, has two parts. One is trying to find some sort of normalization of the border issues. And the second one really goes to this issue of economics, which is kind of an outgrowth of what to do with BRICS, how to use BRICS as an effective tool. Obviously, if India goes alone against the United States, it's an asymmetrical situation where India can easily be bullied by the US, despite its firm stated intention not to be bullied. It's still very, very difficult. But by joining together with BRICS, India can make a huge difference, and instead of being dictated to, they could in fact set the record straight, be fair, but be very, very firm.
Normalization may not yet be so easy, as the shadow of Chinese support for Pakistan during Operation Sindoor through their live battlefield intelligence and military hardware once again has reignited mistrust.
On 10th of May, I think, our National Security Advisor, he had a telephone conversation with his counterpart, the Foreign Minister and the Special Representative on Boundary Issue, Mr. Wang Yi. During this conversation, our National Security Advisor conveyed clearly India's resolute stance on cross-border terrorism emanating from Pakistan, and just to underline that the Chinese side is well aware that mutual trust, mutual sensitivity and mutual respect forms or remains the basis of India-China relations.
India didn't let the Chinese support to Pakistan slide, with tensions boiling over in June during Defence Ministers' SCO Summit visit, where India walked out without signing the joint declaration.
Any acts of terrorism are criminal and unjustifiable, regardless of their motivation, whenever, wherever, and by whomsoever committed. SCO members must condemn this evil unequivocally. vocally.
They could not adopt a joint statement. I also understand that certain member countries could not reach consensus on certain issues, and hence the document could not be finalized. On our side, India wanted concerns on terrorism reflected in the document, which was not acceptable to one particular country, and therefore the statement was not adopted.
However, it all changed by July, thanks to one man.
Indian officials have said that there are other countries that are buying Russian oil.
It's okay.
Like China, for instance,
It's
buys
okay.
more.
Yeah.
Why are you singling India out for these additional sanctions?
It's only been 8 hours, so let's see what happens over the next.
Sanctions
You're going to see a
soon.
lot more.
So this is a taste of
You're
what's
going to
to
see a
come.
lot more. You're going to see so much secondary sanctions.
What began as Trump's tariff war on Beijing, in a paradoxical twist, nudged India and China closer. With tariffs hurting India's exports, Beijing, in an unexpected move, condemned the US's secondary sanctions on India's Russian oil imports.
I do think so. Trade and tariff matters should very much, come up for discussions this week in the meeting between, Wang Yi and Ajay Doval. The bigger trade issue is China's non-tariff barriers, which have recently been seen in the area of, rare earth metals, and especially in the matter of permanent magnets. So these are non-tariff barriers which we feel are being put in place by China regarding, the rare earth minerals, metals, and especially the permanent magnets, regarding the specialty chemicals for fertilizers, and also for pharmaceuticals. And all three are critical elements for India's supply chain in each our industries. So I think that would certainly be a matter of discussion.
A grouping that the West thought would lose its relevance now suddenly has a new life, with Prime Minister Modi expected to visit in Tianjin, China for the SCO Leaders Summit this year, his first visit to China since 2019. However, bilaterally, India and China still have miles to cover, from navigating a fertilizer shortage from an informal ban from China to severe restrictions on rare earth mineral exports, or even recalling top Chinese engineers from Foxconn's factory in Chennai. China has tried every trick in the book to coerce its wish list. Meanwhile, its top two demands continue: resumption of direct flights from India to China since they were stopped during COVID, and greater relaxation for Chinese foreign direct investment in India, removing the additional layer of scrutiny for neighboring nations.
I know that there are a whole bunch of issues related to what I just said in terms of trade, what people are feeling in terms of being bullied by the United States, what happens in Ukraine. Obviously, Gaza will figure in. So there are actually too many topics to talk about in addition to the bread and butter issues in terms of trade, development. So I don't know that it's going to be new issues to talk about so much as dealing with what is already on everybody's plate.
Meanwhile, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is set to visit Moscow on August 21st, India's second high-profile visit to Russia in a span of mere weeks. Talks are now intensifying for the revival of the Russia-India-China troika in the face of US aggression. Meanwhile, the US trade delegation that was expected to visit India next week has cancelled its visit. With India and China growing in proximity, alarms are ringing in Washington.
At this stage, I think US will just be watching the developments in the region, particularly given the fact that India is part of Quad. It will be watching if there's any direct impact in terms of India's positioning within Quad and India's role in Quad from a South Asia perspective. I think that is something they'll be keenly watching. It will also take us down to ties in defense, supply chains, and other critical points of factors of relationship between India and US. I think the strategic relationship India and US has, Washington will be very keen to see if there's going to be any dent on that, apart from this temporary tariff situation that is going on at this point in time.
As Wang Yi arrives, winds of change swirl once again. The world watches as two Asian giants look to recalibrate their destiny. This meeting may define the new strategic landscape, not just for India and China, but for the entire world order.
मुझे विश्वास है कि हम खुले मन से बातचीत करेंगे और हमारी चर्चा कंस्ट्रक्टिव होगी।